Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Guys, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, movie, or game. Today, it's going to be a movie, and that movie is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Here to discuss, as always, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, it's fantastic to be here. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I love to hear it. We're here to talk.
I found my groove in that first podcast. We're
no,
here.
I like it.
We're here.
You seem more lively. You seem like you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And then that's going to keep happening. So it's okay. Gooch,
if you even heard that.
Yeah, you might not.
One of our table clips just keeps coming off.
Yeah, fun fact for those who don't know, this separates, actually. I feel like we've never really even said that.
Actually, we probably haven't talked about it.
I feel like we haven't. So yeah, we separate this and put it away every time. So again, big shout out to Emma for the amazing table. But Gooch, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Or is there even a colon? I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, it might be a colon.
I feel like they usually do that.
We'll both find out.
We'll figure it out when we're titling it. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Overall thoughts, general. I feel like this is one that's going to be, you try to separate real life stuff from a production of a movie. For this one, it's going to be tough.
You cannot.
It's going to be almost impossible with Chadwick Boseman's obvious passing. And you can tell that this movie was reworked a lot, and I feel like you can
totally reworked.
Well, no, I think like the Namor stuff and all that was already involved. Like that was what the thing was going to be. I think that basically the Black Panther side of it really kind of had to obviously be reworked because of Chadwick's unfortunate passing. But overall, Gooch, what was your takeaway from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever?
So first, let me say, I do not envy anyone involved in this movie behind the scenes. This is almost an impossible movie to make. And I think that actually is causing me to critique it not as hard because of the situation that everyone was put into, not of their own choosing, obviously, with Chadwick Boseman's passing. That being said, the movie rocks at a steady pace, but it never is great and it's never bad. It's just good all the way through.
Sure.
Just good all the way through. I think there are some really great parts of this movie. Namor, really interesting take on him. I'm sure we'll definitely dive deeper into that, but I really liked Namor. I think Okoye really shined as well. Danai Gurira kind of really come into her own with this character that's been around, and just because she's a Walking Dead alum, I definitely like her, have more affinity for her.
She's also just great in the role too, like you're saying.
Yeah, and I just felt like she shined a little bit more in this. But ultimately, it's tough to I have a lot to say, but I just don't it's funny. One Thursday when we got out of the theater, and I was thinking about this. And I did my Letterboxd review. And I did that, and I'm thinking about it. Thinking about it last Friday, and I haven't really thought about it since.
Yeah,
I think I might say something. And this movie, it's missing something, and I think it's missing Chadwick Boseman, flat out.
Sadly,
I think this movie, there's something that just isn't there, and I really is it the obvious? Maybe, but what do you think?
I'm very mixed on it, to be honest. After I was a little bit higher on it once we finished up. Like you said, I can't help but echo your thoughts on Namor. I mean, he's amazing, and I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but he did a real fantastic job, and it's cool to see a no-name, or not a no-name, but someone I feel like
you don't know.
No one really knows, really kind of take on that role, and I think if you gave that to a lesser actor, it might not have worked as well as it did. But yeah, I don't know. I like you said, it's a very hard task replacing Chadwick in this role, not having Black Panther. I feel like there was some very interesting choices marketing wise in this that I don't totally agree with, and that I feel like we're a bit to just kind of to set up some unneeded mystery. The story felt like it kind of retreaded the first one's water a little bit to me in a lot of ways, where you have this outside king coming in that really doesn't like the world and kind of wants to use Wakanda for nefarious needs. Well, not even nefarious, but things that actually make sense and that I can actually kind of get behind to a degree, but he's taking it one step too far. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought the performances were incredibly well done. Like you said, I think Danai Gurira was great. I do feel like she gets shafted at the end and we really don't get closure on her character, which I don't really love. I thought, what's her name is Shuri,
Letitia Wright.
Letitia Wright, and who plays her mother? I can't remember.
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. They carry this movie by far. Their emotional kind of connection and resonance really is what makes this an interesting character study and look into, Black Panther's life and like the people he's left behind, and in a symbolic way, talking about Chadwick and what he's left behind. So, like we said, it's tough to separate that real life tragedy from it, but looking at it as objectively as I can as a movie, it kind of hits some low points for me, and especially with like, this is all in the trailer. Like, we didn't need Riri Williams in this. That was a backdoor pilot for her show, in my opinion. I feel like they just put her in there so they wouldn't have to explain things in her show, and that's fine. There's also a side.
She's kind of part of like a MacGuffin plot,
and even like the Everett Ross stuff that just felt like set up for a different Marvel movie. I do want Marvel to eat what's on its plate in front of it before it moves on, and I feel like there has been some troubles with that in some issues. I know we talk about maybe there's not as much connection as some people may want in these movies. Sometimes I think it can with this one, like it did, step over that line and kind of beat me over the head with it. But without getting into spoilers, I think that's kind of where I'm at on it. So maybe a little bit more negative than you. I still did really have some heart-wrenching moments in it. I will say that. I mean, even that.
The intro
is amazing.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It
and
goes
the way
right into it.
Well,
we don't even get our Marvel thing.
Have we had cold opens like that before?
No.
Are you sure?
Nope, not with a Marvel movie.
I think Infinity War did, or maybe Endgame did. I'm pretty confident, but I might be wrong. Like it showed a scene
Endgame
before
starts with
Marvel Studios.
Clint, right?
I think so. I don't think, and then I think after that happens, it goes into like the Marvel kind of running. But anyways, that
few and far between.
Few and far between, and the way it was just totally silent. And the theater, you could hear a pin drop, and they were going in, and it was all this stuff of.
And we were in a packed
Chadwick,
theater.
and you were just kind of sitting there, and it was the Marvel intro, but it had Chadwick, just in all of it. It was good. That was a very touching tribute in general. But I kind of want to get into specifics, but I don't want to spoil anything. So I don't know. Should we just go into it?
Yeah, I think we should.
Would you say go see this film?
I don't think you need to run out.
I agree. I would say if you're a Marvel fan, yeah, go see it. But I do think they make some choices that I wouldn't necessarily agree with. But it's a touching tribute to Chadwick. So I will give them that. So spoilers. Lots of spoilers coming now. Talking about Lupita as Okoye. Like, she has this...
You mean Deny?
I'm sorry.
Lupita Nyong'o is... I always forget her name. Fuck.
It's
easy.
I know, it's not a tough one.
It's not a tough one at all.
It really isn't. I don't know why I'm forgetting.
Nakia?
Nakia.
That's it. Yeah, I got it.
But not Nakia. Now I'm already forgetting. Okoye.
Yeah, Okoye.
I feel like she just kind of gets shafted at the end. Like, you get these kind of cool emotional resonance, but then the queen just takes her out of the guard.
Yeah, she gets exiled as a Dora Milaje.
And then, like... she just dies, and there's no real reconciliation there at all. And I feel like it's just kind of moved past, and they kind of just forget about that. So in the
comics, her and I forget the other Dora Milaje that becomes a Midnight Angel, they're evil.
Oh, interesting.
So the Midnight Angels are like, they get exiled and they become like villains. But in this, that suit, by the way, those suits. Whew,
I was not a fan.
You didn't like the Midnight Angel suit?
I really didn't like them. I didn't. I don't know. I felt like they were like...
They look great.
A bit too like overly done and just like... I don't know. They weren't my cup of tea, personally.
I mean, yeah, I didn't like the Riri Williams Iron
Man
suit.
Yeah, so
that thing looked like an anime, like, robot.
It did. Well, that is right out of the comics, right?
No, not at all.
That's not one of her. I've seen like people posting the pictures of it online. I thought
really?
I could have sworn I've seen it in the comic books.
No,
but
not that I know.
Because I know she has a different, more Iron Man-esque looking thing, and even with her story again,
she's part of the MacGuffin plot. She makes the vibranium detector that kind of sets the whole story in motion.
And by the way, that woman just lies. I guess that's their point. Just lies at the beginning of that and at that UN council where she's like, we can't even detect it with metal detectors. It's like, she just made a metal detector. Put it in your metal detector. She just made one that finds it. Anywho,
right, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, there was this kind of idea of the subplot that the world sees Wakanda as weak because it's lost its king. And I totally forgot that, what's his name, burnt all of the heart-shaped herbs at the end of at the end of the last one, which is like, so you only need one of those your entire life? Or do you keep eating?
Seems like it.
Okay, because that's right. Didn't he takes at the beginning of Black Panther? T'Challa takes like something that removes, I think, the powers to fight for the throne. But I don't know. It was just an interesting choice. And the other marketing thing that I was talking about was this idea of who is Black Panther gonna be? Who is the next Black Panther gonna be? As soon as this movie starts,
it's clearly
gonna be Shuri.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I was saying this
and
before.
I was like, I hope it's not, because it's the obvious choice.
But that's why I'm saying, I'm like, why try to hide the bag on that one? Like,
I
you know what I
agree.
mean? And even like as I was watching the trailers and stuff, I was just like, well, it's obviously Shuri,
right?
Because
why
wouldn't
when we
it
saw
be?
her more, it's like, oh, the Black Panther mask has her
her like dots and stuff on it.
Yeah,
and
I'm like,
everything.
it's clearly Shuri, and she has
the two the things.
the Panther things. Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
It was just such a weird type of idea of like, it felt like to get like another kind of extra layer to be like, come see the movie, see what's gonna happen.
Be Black Panther.
And it's like, oh no, it's definitely like from the moment this begins, this is a story that mainly is about Shuri, as well as Wakanda in general, kind of healing after his death, and, as well as her mother to an absolute degree. But yeah, I don't know. Just a very interesting kind of choice there for me. But what did you think of like Namor and Talokan? Talokan?
Yeah, so Namor kind of takes more of a villain approach. He's definitely not an anti-hero, at least for right now. He's half human, half mutant.
Well, isn't he? But that's
whatever the fuck
just,
that means.
Well, so I didn't even take that as like he's just a mutant. Like the idea was that blue heart-shaped herb or whatever it was turned him into.
See, I think that plant and the heart-shaped herb are the same thing.
No, I agree. I think that's just the heart-shaped herb growing under different circumstances. It grew in the ocean. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, so like his people are kind of pushed out of their lands because of the Spanish conquistadors, and they take that the heart-shaped herb in like in a drink, and they essentially like mutate.
It's
and
like
become
fish people almost.
Undersea dwellers, and they have to go underwater to live. And Namor is the first natural birth under there, so he's like half and half.
Well, no, I thought so. I don't think that's what makes, at least, okay, so this is how I took it in the thing. It seemed like it's because
his mom ingested
as she was pregnant.
But he's also the first
born
under there.
And it also seems like they did, like there were people born after him under there, but they didn't receive the same type of,
and they were
conceived after the heart-shaped that was already ingested by them. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. And the way he gets his name, and I wish I could like remember exactly what the Spanish priest, what Namor.
He was like, it was something in the more, and like it was part of the sentence that he was saying. It was like devil, like he was saying demon or something, right?
Yeah, and I'm like,
or like enemy of the surface or something. Yeah, it was
cool.
Like,
interesting. I'm like, that's like I'm pretty sure Namor is just Namor,
and they
like
probably had to work backwards from that. That's what I'm saying. So like, because obviously, so the interpretation we get of Namor in this movie is totally different from what aside from being a fish person that has wings on his feet, is very different from what we get in the comic books. He's just the king of Atlantis, and I assume it's a similar type of story to Aquaman. But obviously, Namor did predate Aquaman. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, we get, Talokan is like Wakanda, but not technological based and futuristic.
But that's the other thing.
Their culture is rooted in like old tradition, but they're more traditional.
They still have very tribal garb. They seem to have advanced technology
They're playing
to a
like
degree.
Ancient Aztec games.
Yeah,
like in Talokan.
It's very interesting.
They haven't adapted to obviously modern day society because they're underwater.
And they have like a siren song type deal.
Yeah, and they also like don't like the surface and are xenophobes, and I guess you could call Namor a racist in a way
to a degree. Yeah,
because he doesn't seem to like the Wakandans either.
No, well, he seems to. Well, and so,
he's just using them to his own gain.
Well, and at the beginning, he seemed to genuinely be like, I did not realize like there was like something on Earth that was not conquered, and that also took advantage of vibranium and all that thing. So that's the other thing. We find out that there was inexplicably like a second vibranium comet that apparently hit.
Yeah, and they explain that pretty well. It's like, it makes sense that there wasn't just one comet, there was two, and it probably landed in the ocean.
And landed in the ocean, and then it caused this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I do think that whole setup is very cool. I like the idea of them being this old Aztec civilization that's carried on, that's kept its traditions, but seems to be technologically advanced in some way. That was the one thing that kind of bothered me a bit of like, Wakanda was very afraid that they were going to take them down. And I'm like, but why? Like, because of Namor? I guess Namor makes sense because they don't have their Black Panther at that moment. He's so powerful. But once you get a Black Panther, like, their technology seems to blow out the Telekayans, or whatever you want to say, like, from the beginning. I mean, like, they have all these advanced ships. What technology do the Telekans have?
Vibranium.
No, I know, but, like, what do they... We don't see they're always riding whales and just have, like, spears and stuff like that.
Yeah, but,
they don't have any,
Okoye going up against that one guy, like, 3 or 4 times, and they're, like, evenly matched, and it's because he has vibranium weaponry.
Well, no, it's because they're stronger than everyone. Remember, they all have super strength. Like, they all are. The Heart-Shaper gave everyone, like, they're much stronger than, like, regular people. That's not because of their technology. So that's another thing.
But I also thought it was because of the vibranium weaponry.
I didn't take that. I took it because they both have vibraniums. That's one thing, too. They haven't had to fight people with vibranium weapons before, the Wakandans. So that's an interesting point. But it seemed to me more that they just were more brute strength strong than the Wakandans to me. Because they do say that that herb gave them superhuman strength of some kind. I did like the idea of them turning blue outside of water. You point out, I'm like, why are they blue outside of water? And you're like, oh yeah, because they need the oxygen and the water. I'm like, that's a cool little touch. Yeah. I liked it a lot because I was confused. They go underwater and they turn normal color. And another little design choice, I didn't even realize when they wear like the water things on their neck. I thought it was just like jewelry, but it's water in there keeping their gills like wet. Little great design choices in this movie. I will give them a lot of...
Except for that one plane you didn't like.
Yes, I didn't like. It was very overdone. I'm like, what's going on? We have too many flaps and too many fucking
It reminded
things.
me of the planes from Dune.
Really? I think
what
there's...
are they called?
Some, the ornithopters?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, those look more like... They're obviously supposed to be more like, not mosquito, like hummingbird.
Dragonflies?
Yeah, dragonflies. That's what I'm looking for. Where they like their wings beat. Whereas this one just had like 8 wings on each side and then had a rocket behind it. I don't know. It didn't look very good to me. But yeah, I thought that conflict was interesting. But it felt, again, very samey to kind of what we got in the first Black Panther to me with Killmonger and his kind of idea of what he wanted to do and what he felt was right.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, but it is a repeat.
You know,
it does. It's kind of telling the exact same story.
A little bit, yeah. But one thing I will give them credit for is making those silly fucking wings on his feet look pretty good.
Yeah, Namor's fights are really good. He feels and looks like a threat.
He does, even with those little flappy, funny wings on his feet. And again, I was saying this in the theater, but the fact that we live in a world where Marvel committed to these winged feet fucks and The Rock couldn't put on those damn pointy ears in Black Adam, it's fucking ridiculous. That's all I'm gonna say. But no, Namor, even the way he like moved and flew was super cool. He was almost like hopping on his wings.
Yeah,
something I've never seen before. Genuinely, I thought that was very well done, and his costume was great with all the vibranium kind of jewelry and things like that. It looks good, really does. What did you think about the whole kind of what's her name again? I already forget. Nakia kind of side plot. Do you think she was given kind of enough screen?
So I don't know. I assume you do know. The original plot of this movie was supposed to have something to do with Wakanda recovering after Endgame.
Yep, and like him and the king not being around for that time. Yeah, him coming. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So Nakia seemed to be one of those plot points that was left over from that, where she after T'Challa was snapped, she left. She left Wakanda and like ghosted essentially, and she kind of became a headmistress at a
school in
Haiti.
Yeah.
And that was kind of referenced before at the end of Black Panther 1 where T'Challa is talking about she's going to head up the social services for the outreach programs, and Shuri was going to do the tech side of things.
Makes sense.
So it makes sense. I kind of liked it, and then we got to the end. And then they had a kid.
Yeah. See, that's the part I like the most, actually.
I didn't know how I felt about that. Because it kind of just writes in Black Panther again. They wrote T'Challa back in.
Well, no, sure, to a degree.
Obviously not the same one.
But I don't know. That works. That does work for me very well. Like in the way, if you can kind of
do you
have
think
your
they would have
cake-
done that if he didn't pass away?
You think he would have had a kid? No, I don't think that necessarily. Maybe that wasn't part of the plan. I couldn't tell you. I would I lean towards no? I think so. But that was probably my favorite part of that. And I really didn't see it coming.
Because this is our post-credit scene.
Yeah, where you get introduced to him. And again, that was one of the moments of the movie that definitely kind of hit me hardest for sure. Just even Shuri's performance in that, or I keep forgetting her real name, I'm sorry.
Letitia Wright.
Letitia Wright does an amazing job. And again, she was given a Herculean task in this of like, you're the new lead. That's you signed up to be a co-lead on that, not even but like a supporting star. You're going to lead this franchise now. And I think she does a good job to a degree. I thought her interaction with Killmonger was very interesting in the ancestral
I really
plane.
liked how she just didn't become a hero to become a hero's sake. Like, once she became Black Panther, she was like, not like Killmonger, but
I would say so, to a degree.
But she was like, I'm doing this for my own reasons.
I want blood.
Not for Wakanda, not for you. I'm doing this for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm killing Namor.
Regardless,
and we're gonna fight the Telekanians because of what they did.
I wish
seeing. I mean, like, obviously, it's kind of obvious that we were gonna see Killmonger
in some fashion.
In that scene, yeah, Michael B. Jordan reprising his role back in the ancestral plane.
Mm-hmm.
So that scene was cool, but yeah, like I like how she kind of like co-ops his suit as well. Uses it.
I don't think that's supposed to be his suit.
I think when she picks up his helmet, originally it was his.
Because it looked like it had the dots and stuff all over it already. I really think that she was just making her own suit from that. But I don't know. It could be. That's an interesting plot point.
Because it has the gold.
I would like to see. I would be curious if that is the actual point. No, very interesting stuff. And even her kind of whole struggle with we're the most advanced we're the most technologically advanced civilization in the world. I was told this my entire life, but I couldn't even save my brother with all that technology. And it's tough, and it's a very interesting kind of character direction.
We didn't really talk about the introduction scene of him, like, having this unknown illness and him dying. But the first line of the movie is like her praying to a god Bast.
Yeah.
Shuri is not traditional, not religious, opposes actually her Wakandan
more
traditions
yeah.
and beliefs. Doesn't
more
want anything.
Maybe I would say by their standards.
Doesn't want anything to do that. Probably a pretty normal standpoint for people our age and our generation. Yeah. So it makes sense that she like kind of wants nothing to do with that side of her life. And is more based in technology, not in the magic or the religious.
And again,
aspect.
that was something she was never meant to deal with.
And it kind of comes back because she is this kind of like anti-religious character, and she not that she ends up having to believe her religion, but like she resorts to it because she's like desperate.
And at first she can't do it,
and she still doesn't even at the end of the movie when M'Baku is going to fight to become king of Wakanda, like. She's still not there. It's a tradition, and she does not go through with it. Like,
no, it's funny. I didn't even think about that. So
look at it from a traditional standpoint.
Who would he be fighting for that? Just a random so that's what's confusing.
That is one of the questions we don't have the answer to. Who won that fight, and who's the king of Wakanda?
M'Baku, by the way, criminally underused in this. I wish we got more of him.
You know who I think Okoye's husband is?
Who?
Who's the guy from Get Out?
It is him. Yeah, he's in the first one. He
was a traitor.
Has the blue shit. Yeah. Yeah,
because that was pretty well documented that he was not coming back for this movie because of scheduling issues.
I think so. Yeah. I would have liked to see more M'Baku because I think we got the moments we got with him and Shuri.
Kukulkan!
It's so good.
But he says it.
He really does kind of take over that
Kukulkan!
That older brother kind of position in her life. And it was nice to see those moments of them interacting and him trying to be like, this isn't what your brother would want. This isn't what your mother would want. And she does give that very non-religious answer, like you're saying, of, well, they're dead now, so it doesn't matter what they want. Like, it doesn't. Their memory, everything's gone.
Yeah, and even her with like talking about the ancestral plane, she's like, I didn't believe in it. I didn't want to believe in it. I didn't care. I don't care. I don't care what they have to say. Like, it doesn't matter. Like it's really interesting they stuck to their guns about her being like not into her like the religion.
Well, but by
and
the
stuff.
end, she is kind of like she.
Nah, I
I mean,
wouldn't
she
say
accepts it and sees her mom and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's what I took from it, anyways. Like, because she actually gets her mother.
But I wouldn't say she's like into it now.
No, but I think she accepts that it's real now. I mean, you have to. You saw it. Like, I don't know how you wouldn't. But yeah, it was an interesting moment for sure. What did you think about like the kind of whole final battle?
At least it wasn't a CGI fight.
Sure, and honestly, what they
was.
need to stop doing is having one fight over here, and then another bigger fight over here.
I did like Shuri and Namor going at it.
It was good.
It felt very physical, especially with Namor obviously not being CGI.
And it felt very thought through, even in the way she executes it, and she gets him in the plane and dehydrates him to lose his power, and then she finally takes it down, and she has that moment of just like clarity where she shows mercy. And you're like, oh, well, what's Namor going to do now? And we kind of see by the end
It would have been
what his
interesting
plan
if
is.
she killed him.
It would have. I do think it kind of would have stumped the growth that we were supposed to be seeing throughout this whole movie. And I feel like the point of what she was going through was to realize that's not the way and to kind of look past her emotions. But no, it would have been. It would have been very different. But it would have sucked because then Namor's gone.
Out.
Yeah, and then after that kind of strong of a showing, I would like to see him show up. It's funny. Whenever I see him, though, I can't help but think of the guy from Rick and Morty. Mr. Nimbus or something. Have you seen that episode? It's so funny. It's one of my favorites. He's literally like he's a fish guy with wings on his feet, and he's hello Richard. It's so fucking funny. You gotta watch that one. But yeah, that was a good fight. I liked that a lot. I don't think I needed the whole big fight at sea with the other thing going on at the moment. And I did not like those armors at all. I don't know. Why wouldn't you build a ton of those? Why wouldn't you give
The Midnight Angels?
Yeah.
She says.
She said she wants to build more. No, yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I know. But I would be creating Iron Man suits for everyone.
And Riri Williams.
And then Riri Williams, obviously. But again, yeah, she was just there. Everett Ross, that whole side plot.
You didn't like it? I mean, I like how Ross is involved. He's the Wakandan.
You felt like you could completely cut that out. It wouldn't make a difference at all.
So what did you think about Allegra DeFontaine?
Set up for Thunderbolts, which is fine. But that's what they're doing. Like, it just felt like complete setup.
So is she the head of the CIA?
Maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist.
No, yes, it does.
It does? So maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. I think she might be S.H.I.E.L.D. director then.
No shit.
I feel like they kind of
Everett
confirmed
Ross
that.
wasn't S.H.I.E.L.D. though, even in before.
That's true. He was like FBI, right? Or
like
CIA, something
CIA,
like that.
One of the feds.
I think CIA because they do international stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I could have taken that plot out completely.
Yeah, I'm like, I wonder if she's head of the. I think she's head of the CIA. I don't think she's head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
By the way, how do you bug Wakandan beads?
I don't know.
Again, I know that's something we
I guess he's out of the jail and on the run.
Yeah,
Ross. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious. Like, they almost didn't need to include her.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't need to include like Everett Ross or her.
Everett Ross is fine. I can
fair. I'll take away that.
Out against Martin Freeman. But.
No, I thoroughly. It's not his performance or anything like that. I thoroughly love Martin Freeman, but it's just it felt superfluous for sure.
Yeah, like why? Like there wasn't like a Thunderbolts character in this, unless what would have been interesting is if Okoye actually was evil, then that would have made sense if she was like picked up.
Go on, yeah.
Maybe the Midnight Angels plot originally was they were supposed to go evil. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. They seem too good though especially from the first movie. Like,
yeah,
it would have been hard for me to accept Okoye being like, I'm actually bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I do like the scene where they go to MIT and.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like trying to blend in,
and she just starts out like a
talking about how she's like bald and stuff.
No, that was good. There was.
She looks good bald.
I know she does.
I like Denai Greer,
and I do think
she's attractive.
I agree. Not that necessarily matters, but she is.
I'm just telling. I'm just saying.
I do think
she makes the bald look good.
Absolutely. What was I going to say? I just totally lost my train of thought. Damn it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
We're talking about.
We were talking about Denai Greer. Yeah.
And attractive.
Yeah, again, that even whole side plot, like she doesn't. It's the MacGuffin to get Telecon to come after Wakanda or to need Wakanda's help. It's like, why don't you go get the fucking? I guess because they can't breathe on land and most of them can't.
Yeah, like they could have just made some scientists like in the CIA make it. Like they didn't need it. Didn't have to be Riri.
And I'm just saying, they have those plans.
And they changed her origin pretty well. It's like, for the most part, she's Iron Man influenced.
And that's
And in
that's
this,
the one
she's,
thing
like,
that really.
not.
That was one thing where I kind of joked. You were like, "Man, they're really changing her orange," and I was like, "Big fan of Riri Williams, are we?" But then I was like, "No, I do think it's weird not having her mention." Like, I thought she would mention, be like, "I don't know, Tony Stark really inspired me."
It looked like she had an arc reactor design. Up
She
on her
absolutely no.
blueprints.
It seemed like she definitely does. That she was inspired by
But
that.
they
But
don't hit it home that what is in her suit is an arc reactor.
Yeah, but not, I don't even need that.
doesn't
I just
need
would have
to
been
be.
more like seeing her be inspired by Tony Stark, or like really kind of talk about that in some way of like, and maybe that'll come in the show. Maybe she'll talk about that more.
Show's
when
called
we see that.
Ironheart, right?
I believe so.
I'm curious what they'll do with that.
I am too. But yeah,
Did you like the actress?
yeah, she was fine.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I thought she was fun, and she did a great job. But
Yeah, obviously we have the modernity foil within the Wakandan plot. She's like
Absolutely.
the real person.
yeah, our kind of that's what Everett Ross kind of was in the first one.
the real person.
The viewport in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, Gooch. Overall, it's hard not to like it to a degree in the way of it feels like a good tribute.
It's hard
and I
to pick
enjoyed
it apart because we know this task was tough. That's like what I said at the beginning. Like I don't love it. It's good, but again, it's never great and it's never really bad. But like I think that there's an obvious reason for that. And it's hard to ignore. It's hard to just be like, yeah. I mean, they even kind of not forget about Chadwick, but like, the movie has to honor him and then service the characters in the plot
and give us a story.
And there's a lot. That's a lot to do for a movie. Like, how the fuck do you do that?
No, it's tough. And like you said, we don't envy Ryan Coogler at all. And I will give him props for making
And you know
this
what,
work.
man?
To a
I don't
degree.
think there's gonna be another Black Panther movie.
This is gonna make.
I think like I don't think we'll see like it doesn't seem like Shuri is gonna be like the Black Panther that T'Challa was going to be.
Sure,
That's
true.
But
But
as an Avenger operator and king of Wakanda, she's none of those right now.
I don't mean to dismiss it, but I would chop off my left nut if we don't get another one of these, just based on how many people were in the Thursday night showings. I'm sure this is going to do very well this weekend. I don't know if we can actually. I might.
I think it made 80 million first night.
But I'd be very surprised if they don't continue with this. Do you think? And I know this is a tough question, and maybe you're just immediately like, no. But do you think it would have been better for them to recast?
No,
because I kind of do. Like
I think it would have been better
for
them to just not make the movie.
No, I disagree because I think shelving the movie.
It was funny, like we were hearing for like a month or two, like so many issues behind the scenes with, and mostly it was because of Letitia Wright not being vaccinated.
Yeah, it was stupid stuff. I mean, again, like, yeah, sure, yeah, no,
Right.
that was causing production issues to a degree. But then she also got injured very badly, I think, on one of the sets. That was the first thing that happened. But no, I would be incredibly surprised if they don't do another one of these movies. I do think they should.
It's not going to be for a while. We know the full slate.
No, that's true, but I think they'll easily. I think within 3 to 4 years we will get another one of these. Absolutely, no issue.
Wakanda or Black Panther was in 2018, I think.
Yeah, I do think just dedicating this to Chadwick, waiting maybe another year or two, and recasting was the way to go because
we
you don't shelve this character who everyone loves and we've waited a long time to see
and we haven't again another post Endgame movie like I think listening to people talk about I wanted to call it the decimation because I fucking hate calling it the blip. I remember when they committed to the decimation and it's like now we're calling it the blip.
When
now.
was the decimation?
It was originally the blip is when they came back. The decimation is when they got snapped.
I thought it was just the snap.
I think that's what we ended up calling it.
That's fine. I don't remember them saying the decimation.
But like Okoye is the one who's holding Black Panther and he just disappears. We hear none of that. None of that, like what Okoye was going through. And I was even telling you, it's like Okoye was like in contact with the Avengers for a long time.
And
5
I think
years.
That's the unfortunate side effect.
And I was saying to you, during the funeral scene, where was Bucky? Where were some of our Avengers characters?
Again, realistically, they should.
They should have been at that funeral.
But because they're making this movie, that's impartial to honor Chadwick. I think they probably thought this would be distracting from what seeing all. Which I think
I don't know if I'd say distracting.
You're right. Listen. I think that just makes the world feel more real that they would be
like,
there.
If anything, like they don't need to have any lines, but like, well, before his casket gets taken up,
You just see him in the crowd or something.
Right? Yeah. They're like Bucky and like anyone who would be associated with Avengers are just together, and they give a head nod.
Because it was funny. I remember you were in the middle of
Bucky being there makes a lot of sense, especially with his White Wolf thing going on.
In general, I think of course not Kappa's, but in general, mostly Nat, I don't know. I think it would make sense for
especially
most of them to be there.
after the snap.
Absolutely.
They clearly knew each other.
And that's where I think the unfortunate thing of it is this interesting story point to unfortunately have lost this person. They have to lose this person twice. Once they got him back, he got cancer and he's taken away right again. But you do then miss all of these emotional beats that would have been told had he been there, like between Okoye and what happened for those last 5 years. And I do think that's unfortunately an issue, and that's why I do think recasting might have been the way to go in this. And I understand if people don't think that way, and I think it's a very fair thing to think. Maybe this was the best way to go. It probably was, but I don't know. It's an unfortunate set of circumstances, and I think we got one of the best things we could have out of it. Do I think that there could have been a few choices that were made that would have made it even better and more kind of concise? Maybe to just focus more on Wakanda and really kind of stay there? Sure. But I don't know. I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't blown away. I guess is where I'm at.
I think Phase 4 ends on not the best of notes, for sure. And especially for the greater MCU, this movie really has nothing to do with any of it. This is our first Marvel movie we don't have a post-credit scene.
Which is fun. Again, that's crazy. See, you saying that sounds like a negative, but to me, that's not a negative at all. I love it. Like these movies.
I mean, I don't know what they could have put in, but it was just wild to be like, wow, we don't have a post-credit scene. Just the Black Panther will return, obviously. But yeah,
works for me. Again, I'm fine with. Let's eat what's on our plate, and then worry about what's coming up. Black Panther. This whole story. That's what I'm saying. Like that's like okay. It felt like we should have eaten the story of Black Panther, and then moved on to our seconds, which was Ironheart as a series, and then Thunderbolts with Ross and all that stuff. I don't know. I think he might be Red Hulk. In the next
Everett Ross?
I think instead of, because I feel like they're not going to make Harrison Ford him, because he's going to die in 10 years.
Don't fucking remind me of that.
Gooch, they couldn't have gotten a better actor. He just needs to be younger. He's my favorite actor out there by far, because he treats
He's a shithead.
No, because he treats it like an actual job. They're like, "Hey, Harrison, what did you do?" "Oh, I went to work and I did my job fantastically." He supposedly hates Star Wars, and he gives some of the best performances ever in those movies. He can be as curmudgeon.
The originals.
No, and he was the best part of those. Even in Rise of Skywalker, I fucking hate. I don't hate that movie. I mean, I hate that movie. But his part in that with Ben, Rise of Skywalker. But his moment in that with Kylo is one of my favorite parts. He gives it his all. He may be a curmudgeon old man outside of it, but he gives a fucking performance every time he's on it. And when they're like,
I don't even like him in Blade Runner 2049.
And they're like, "Harrison, how do you do this?" He's like, "Well, I showed up on set and I pretended to be the person, and then that's it." Like he's just a normal person. I love it. But that's my Harrison Ford rant for the moment.
There was something I wanted to say, and it was about the intro of him dying. So here's my headcanon for this, because he dies of unknown diseases. So considering he's the only human being with the heart-shaped herb in him, I'm headcanoning that the snap's magic affected the heart-shaped herb and it killed him.
See, I think it's
because he's the only person who has it in him, so he would be the only person to go through anything like some residual effects.
In my opinion, it's a stronger kind of message if he did just die of cancer.
I mean, I'm just saying. Like,
I know. In your head, I guess in my head canon, it's better. It's more interesting. He died of cancer. It was something they couldn't do anything about. And I guess what you're saying they couldn't have done anything about either. But I think having it be this more human thing that affects vast amounts of people is a bit more strong of a story point for me. But I like that headcanon too. I do. Gooch, is that all on Black Panther? Wakanda forever. Anything else? All right. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Folks, thank you so much.
That's it, Phase 4. We're done.
Phase 4, yeah. What's up next?
Quantumania.
Which I think genuinely...
strong note with that.
Genuinely looks awesome, and I cannot wait.
What's the next show? Sorry to interrupt you.
Might be Ironheart. No, it's okay. I didn't really start.
Ironheart, really?
I don't know.
No
to
way.
be honest.
Loki season 2.
You might be right, but that's not.
It's funny because we've known about that, but like, and no, that's definitely filmed. That's had to have filmed.
I think it's been like filming now. I don't know if it's done yet, but so yeah, okay, so Quantum Mania is up next. Then I guess it's Guardian. Okay, so this might only be showing movies, but Guardians of the Galaxy is after that in 2023. Then the Marvels. Yeah, I don't think this is showing TV shows, but we'll see.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know. Good stuff. Go see the movie. Guys, girls, folks, thank you all for watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We very much appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We're on all the social medias as well at Delco Nerds on basically everything. We got a Facebook page. We got a Discord channel, which all should be linked down below. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. You can email us, delconerds@gmail.com, with all your comments, questions, or concerns. We would be happy to get back to you. If you guys can like, share, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. Really helps us out here. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.